Hi guys, Spartan here, and today I'll be reviewing the Alienware Area-51m R2, second generation of the Area-51. This is how the laptop looks. Got it in lunar white color. As you can see, for the R2 now they gave us an SD card slot, which was not there in the R1. Cooling is about the same from the outside. You got two exhaust vents here, your LAN port, HDMI display port, and two power adapter outlets here. And this is for the Alienware graphics amplifier, in case you wanted to connect another external graphics unit. This is from the other side. You got one USB port here, Thunderbolt, two headphone jacks. And this is how the laptop looks. Now for the R2, after a lot of complaints of discoloration on the white color for the previous models, including the M15 and M17, what Dell has done is they've added a protective coating. So now it feels very, very premium, and this should not have any discoloration issues like the previous versions. They did change the keyboard. The keyboard quality now is way better in terms of the keys. They feel very solid, whereas the previous generation, the keys were very flimsy. Like if I would, for example, touch the key very hard, sometimes it may just kind of come out of place. This one feels very, very solid. It has a very nice tactile feedback to it. Feels very premium. So for the R2, they've updated the specifications. Now they have the Super lineup for the GPUs, 2060, Super, 2070, and 2080. This laptop is configured with the Intel i9-10900K and with 3200 megahertz of RAM and the RTX 2080. Now, previously we were stuck at 2400 megahertz RAM, so this is a nice bump. Now you can configure it anyway from 64 gigs of 2933 megahertz RAM or the faster 3200 megahertz limited to 32 gigabytes. Now, I know these latest CPUs run hot, and not just on this laptop, and any laptop, because they're desktop CPUs. So I ordered mine from HID Evolution, and what I had them do in terms of upgrades is they delidded the CPU, which reduced temperatures by around 10 degrees. And they've also added thermal pads all over the heat-sensitive components on the motherboards, which reduces temperatures by another 5 to 10 degrees. I mean, everything you can do here to lower temperatures is crucial for you to be able to get the full performance out of the laptop without having any thermal throttling. So I've done all the benchmarks here, and I'm very impressed, to be honest. This is the highest Cinebench score I've ever achieved personally on a laptop. See, we got a score of 6,306, and the clock speeds were holding at 5.3 gigahertz with the maximum temperatures of around 85 to 86 degrees. Very, very impressive. This is one of the very taxing benchmarks you could do on any laptop. It would immediately make any laptop reach 90 and even up to 100 degrees within a few seconds of running it. So I'm very impressed with the cooling of the Area-51m R2. They've improved the cooling slightly. Now they have a vapor chamber heatsink to help with the heat. And this is the Fire Strike score. These are default settings. I did not overclock neither the CPU or GPU. 24,515. And the temperatures in Fire Strike were max at 78 to 80 degrees. And the GPU temperatures max out at 58 degrees. Then let's have a look at PC Mark. This is PC Mark basically will do simulations of what you'd expect as a power user with daily tasks like video editing, working on spreadsheets, battery life, everything here. And this is also a very, very impressive score. Here's the Time Spy score, 11,559. And take a look at the temperatures. Maxed out at 81 degrees, 82. GPU also maxed out at 63. Very, very impressive. And here's the RAM and the cache test. Test the latency and the RAM speed. So I had mine ordered with 4 terabytes of SSD storage. Two terabytes are in RAID mode. Like there's a one time or two of the Western Digital SN730 in RAID 0 for that. That's for the OS, and then another 2 separate SN730s as separate drives for storage. So this is the RAID benchmark, and this is the single drive. And here's the AIDA64 benchmark, again for RAID and a single drive. And let's look at basic applications you may do, like launching Photoshop, Premiere. Very fast. And for the R2, Dell has updated the screen options. Now we get 4K at 60 Hertz, or you can get the 144 Hertz, which has G-Sync. Or in my case, I opted for the 300 Hertz refresh rate screen with the 3 millisecond response time. That is without G-Sync, but honestly, I don't miss G-Sync one bit. I never really felt any difference with G-Sync or not. Probably because the laptops that I had all had very high specs, so I would never experience any scenario where the frame rate would dip way below the screen's refresh rate. So yeah. The 300 Hertz screen is really a pleasure to look at. Very fluid, very smooth animations. Now, in terms of fan noise, during your regular day-to-day usage, you'd never even hear the fans. Runs really cool, and the fans rarely, spin up. When they do spin up, though, they're not loud at all. I mean, it's just like any other gaming laptop. They're not obnoxiously loud, so it's very practical to use, even in, let's say, an office or somewhere where you don't want to annoy people with your laptop's fan speed. In terms of sound quality, it is exactly the same as the first generation. It is very loud, but I feel that it could do it lacks any real bass. There's no dedicated subwoofer, so it does. I mean, it's all right, but yeah, you definitely want to connect it to external speakers if you want to get some real quality audio. So here's an example of how loud it sounds. let's take a look at the restart or boot up time. Um, Despite the fast SSDs and RAID mode and all these nice specs, it's one of the slower laptops I see. Let's take a look here. I think part of that is because of the RAID configuration. There's a slight delay right before you see the Alienware logo at restart due to the initialization of the RAID controller. See there, it hangs for a couple of seconds before Windows starts to load. I mean, it's not bad, but you know, it's exactly the same as the R1 in terms of booting up and restarting speeds. Nothing special there. So overall, what are my thoughts? I think right now, this is the best desktop replacement slash gaming laptop out there in terms of the cooling, the screen, the keyboard, and the specifications. And of course, from Dell, you know, you have top-notch quality with next business day on-site support. So overall, I'd highly recommend this. There is no better option right now, in my honest opinion. And overall, I'm very happy with what Dell did to the R2. Would I upgrade from the R1? Let's say you had the Alienware Area-51m R1. Would I upgrade? Me being a previous owner of the R1, I would not, to be honest, because all you're getting is a slightly faster GPU, which doesn't really make a huge difference in games. It's not like the R1 with the RTX 2080 can do things less than this one can, but you know, it's just a nice speed bump, or you can just consider it like a little factory overclock. Yeah, and of course the SD card reader is nice, but that's not a compelling reason to upgrade. So if you have your R1, it's a very fine laptop. But of course, if you're in the market for a new laptop right now, definitely think of the R2, not the R1. It's way better. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll put the full specifications in the description in the video, and also a link to the actual forum review where I have all the benchmarks posted and whatnot. Thank you for watching.